So the first thing I wanted to show you all was what we call circuits. So especially with youth players, we do this all the time, and we had our high school sessions this summer. We did this a lot. One, it's a great conditioning drill. They're always moving, but it's also good because you can vary it a lot, focusing on ball handling and different ways to finish at the basket. So what we do is it's just a circuit. It's a big circle, and you can really make it however you want. We always have some chairs or some cones where they can do moves, and then we'll have them finish and then do the same thing coming back. You can see I've already got 2 different sets of cones here. So these ones are a little more spaced out, and then over there they're a little bit tighter, so they have to do some dribble moves in a little bit less space. So the first thing, girls, what I want you to do is I want you to start with your right hand, come up to this cone, crossover, this cone, crossover. So you're crossover at every cone. And then when you get to that cone, it should be in your left hand and you're crossing over and then doing a layup. All right? And then you're going to do the same thing coming back down the other way. And the second person in line, I want you to wait until they get to the 3rd cone before you go. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's see it. Start with your right hand, go ahead. Dribble up to that cone, crossover, good. And then crossover, one more crossover, and then finish with a right hand layup. Good. Crossover and then finish with a layup, perfect. So you can see, again, they're gonna be moving all the time, which is one of the big things we want at practices. We never want them standing still. If at any time we can avoid that, we want everybody moving as often as possible. Okay, you can stop then. So the other thing is you can kind of vary this by skill level too. So when we get to the high school girls, we'll give them 2 basketballs, and we'll make them go up and make a move inside out, a move inside out, and then we'll have them finish when they come through here with one hand. So we'll make a move at this chair, and then we'll have them finish with one hand. Again, it's nice to focus on different things. If you've got youth players, you can say you can only use your left hand. So make them just dribble through these cones, doing different moves, only using their weak hand, and then make them finish only using their weak hand. You can do so many things here to develop different ball handling and finishing. You can tell them how to finish differently. So you can say, this time I want you to do a jump stop finish where you jump off 2 feet and finish, or finish on the other side of the rim. So the stuff with the circuits here is that they're always moving, and you can emphasize a lot of different things. So we love these things. When we do skill stuff in the summer, we do one of these at every practice. The other thing is you can do it with defense too. So you can say, everyone's gonna start here, and you're gonna back pedal, and then you're gonna slide to this cone, and then you're gonna turn and run to that cone. So you can do lots of things where they're always moving in a circle, and focusing on a lot of different skills. Anybody have any questions on the circuits? So what we run with our program, we call it Nova. It's what the Villanova men's team runs. It's a 4-out, 1-in motion. The big thing, if you've ever watched our varsity basketball team, the girls before, they were dribble drive. So it was very hard attack, always dribbling. We wanted to keep that mentality. We think that attacking the basket is still one of the main ways that you're gonna score, but we want a little bit more movement. So we have one here, and then give me one right here. Yep, perfect. You go there, and why don't you come right over here. Why don't you go down in the block, and you come right over here on the wing. So the offense that we run is actually very complicated. We're still working through it at our level. Played Stoughton last night, and it looked ugly. But we only lost by 7, so I was pretty excited about the room that we have to improve there. I would not suggest you run it the way that we do, because it is very difficult. We practice every single day, and we're having a hard time getting them in the right habits. So I've got 3 rules that I would suggest you use. Every time there's a pass from what we call, these are the 2 slots, slot spots, wings, and then post. Every time there's a pass from the slot to the wing, go ahead and pass it to her. We call it a logo cut. Usually on course there's a logo right here. You just cut through all the way that way. Go ahead, cut through there. And then you would just fill up. So you would rotate here, and you would rotate there. And you would go out to this other wing. So there's these 4 spots. You always want to have those 4 spots filled. If you pass to the wing, you cut through to the other side, and everyone else fills. That's rule number 1. Let's go back up here. Rule number 2, if you ever pass across the middle of the court, you screen away. So pass here. Now you would set a screen right here, and you would come up. And again, those 4 spots are still filled. All right, but what we're doing here is we're teaching some of the basics of this offense: screening and moving after you pass. The big thing that I didn't love with dribble drive is people just stood. You would stand in this corner and you would wait for somebody to dribble. All right, and that allows the defense to do what they call load up. When the defense can just stand in one spot, that's really bad for your offense because they're loading and they can jump and get your passes. All right, so it just increases movement. The other rule, the third rule, let's go ball over here with green shirt. The third rule is if the ball ever goes in the post, so pass it in here to the post, that person right there needs to cut to the basket. All right, and I'll guarantee you're going to get a ton of layups on that. We do it in practice all the time, and this is probably the highest, or the way we score the most besides shooting threes, which my girls love to shoot threes, so I like that, but all right, you can go back up there. So 3 rules. 1, pass to the wing, logo cut. 2, pass across, screen for the wing. And 3, every time there's a post pass, we cut to the basket. That will increase your movement, make the defense work a little harder. But the big thing is when you catch, you're still ready to attack, you're still ready to shoot. If you can drive, you still drive. All right? Anybody have any questions on that?
It's the opposite slot that cuts when you cut one of the posts, right?
Correct, yes. Correct. And one of the other things that I'll just show you really quick that works really well is when you do cut, we still want to fill our spot, so then this person would slide up, and that you can get a really nice shot off a lot too. Because the post, if you imagine when I catch that ball here in the post, I'm going to be turning, all right, so I'm going to see that cutter and I'm going to see that one, so I can score or I've got 2 options. And so we're really telling our girls we want to pass it in the post as often as we can, not because we're necessarily going to score, but because a lot of really nice actions come off of that. Any other questions? Cool. All right. So now some of the stuff that I'm going to show you kind of works into that. Another big aspect of our offense is fast break. I think if you can get down and get easy shots as often as possible, you want to do that. So now I need 3 lines, 1 right here, 1 over there, and 1 over there. So this is a drill that I'm guessing if you have seen basketball at any point in your life, you've probably seen, but people ignore this drill way too often because they think it's too simple. So this is the weave. So what we're going to do here is these first 3 girls, they're going to pass and then run behind, pass, run behind, pass, run behind. And then when they get down to that end, one of them is going to shoot a layup, and the 2 that don't shoot a layup, they're going to get a pass from one of those 2 for a shot. And as soon as you 2 pass it, you would be coming back down with the person who shot the layup for the weave coming back. So we're going to walk through it just so we can see it really slow. So I want you to pass here, okay, and then you would come out, pass to her. Yep, you're doing the right thing. So you're going to run behind, pass to her, and then go run behind her. Pass to her. Now you're running behind. Pass to her. Run behind her. Run behind her. Yep, you're fine. Run behind her. Good. Run behind her. Good. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, so here, stop right there. Now you're going to take a layup, and you're going to come right over here and get a pass from her, and you're going to get a pass from her. So go ahead and do your layup. Good. And then you would shoot, and you would shoot. Good, okay, stop there. Now you're running the weave with these 2. So you stay in the middle. Now you will come out a little bit further here. Pass to her, run behind. Now come out, pass to her and run behind her. Pass to her and run behind her, perfect. All the way back down. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Very nice. All right, now stop. You're gonna do a layup. And again, hold on, you're out here. Now you get a shot from here. And you get a shot from her, and give the ball to her right there. All right, and now we do the same thing going down. So now these 3 are running the weave. We've got 2 passers, we've got 2 passers. So it's one of those things where they're not standing for very long. They're always involved in the drill. You get work on some shooting, all right, and you get worked on passing up the floor, timing, things like that. The reason I think this drill is so important is because of the timing and some of the things that it teaches, like don't travel. So that's one of the things that drives me crazy when we have varsity practices, is our girls will travel with no defense. And so it's one of the things I talk about. You're not being defended right now, you should not turn the ball over. And one of the things that helps is teaching a good jump stop. So if I'm getting a pass here and I have to wait, I'm gonna jump stop for that next girl to come up, and then I'm gonna pass to her. What you'll see girls, when you start doing this, what you'll see them do is they'll catch that pass and they'll start running until they can pass to that next one. And it's great for an in-game thing, because how often when you're playing do girls do that? Or boys do that? They do it all the time. All right, so help them to jump stop, be strong with the ball, and then throw it up. So I'll say the ball can't touch the ground, because otherwise they'll just want to dribble. So ball can't touch the ground, you're throwing good passes, and then the other thing, so one focus is don't travel. The second focus is be wide. All right, what they'll start to do is they'll start to clump up, and they'll run this little weave down the court. Make sure, you can even put cones on the outside, but make sure that when they're running behind, they have to go all the way out here before they can come back in and get that pass. It's one of those things in our fast break where we talk about if we're wide, we can get a lot better passing angles and scoring angles in that fast break. So wide and don't travel. Those are my two focuses for that one. This is my favorite shooting drill. If you do this right, they will get really tired and they will get lots of shots. All right, so here's how it works. I want this group right here, I want you to go to that basket. This group right here, I actually want you to go down to that basket, and we're gonna stay right here at this basket. All right, so why don't you go right at the elbow and you go at this elbow. So it's a constant pattern where she's gonna shoot first, get her own rebound and pass it to me. Then you're gonna shoot, get your own rebound and pass it to her. I'm gonna shoot and get my own rebound and pass it to you. So you're passing to the same person every single time. All right, so let's just go through the motions really quick, and then I'll talk about the emphasis. So when you shoot, get your own rebound. Okay, you can shoot right away, go ahead. You're gonna pass to me. Okay, I'm gonna shoot, get my own rebound, pass to you. Keep going, you shoot. Get your own rebound, pass to me. All right, we'll stop there. All right, so it's the same pattern every single time. And the things that we emphasize are moving into your shot. Again, with our offense, you should never just be standing still. All right? Really, any good offense, you should never just be standing still. So you're always going to be moving into a shot. So here's what we talk about with moving into our shot. If you would pretend like you just got your own rebound, you're going to pass to me. All right, 1 second. So we talk about how you need to be low with your hands ready. All right? A lot of our girls will go like this. So move into their shot, kind of like they like to shuffle. All right, but we're low with hands ready, so when I get that pass, I am ready to shoot. So that's our one emphasis. The second emphasis I like with this is, even though it's a shooting drill, almost all of my shooting drills have a rebounding component. I think rebounding is so important. So what we talk about is the ball can only touch the floor one time max on a rebound, which makes them have to hustle after it, and it gets them in that mentality to go crash the boards. So move into your shot. The ball can only touch the floor one time on a rebound. All right? Do you all know what you're doing? What about right here? You need me to talk about it one more time, or are you good? Okay, so we're gonna do it at all three hoops here for about 30 seconds. Okay, ready, set, go. Go ahead, shoot, get your own rebound. Make sure you're moving into your shot. Hands are low, ready to shoot as soon as you catch it. Moving to your shot. Hands ready, good. Hands ready, good. All right, and stop. All right, so what you probably saw happen a couple of times is the rebound went away from where the shooter was. So I know it happened to me on my first one. I was over here, and she got the rebound over there. So what we tell our girls is, you can't just stand over here. You gotta go move into your shot and run to that pass. So let's go, why don't you go down the block? So let's say that rebound was going that way. Instead of just standing here, I need to run around so she can see me, and I'm gonna get that pass right here, instead of just standing over there. We do this usually for 2 minutes at a time, and by the end of it, our girls are tired, after just 2 minutes. If you're doing it right, you don't need to do this for 5-minute segments. We'll go 2 minutes of mid-range, we'll do 2 minutes of threes, we'll do 2 minutes of you can pick. And that's all you need. All right, and you get lots of really good shots. And again, you're focused, you get a good emphasis on moving into your shot and then hustling after those rebounds. That is by far my favorite shooting drill. We do that every single practice. And I will continue to do that every single practice. It's a great one. You can vary it up in a lot of different ways as well. Anybody have any questions on that one? Cool. All right. On that note, I did want to talk a little bit about teaching shooting. I think, especially at the youth level, it's so important. Shooting is the great equalizer in basketball. If you can shoot the ball, you are automatically a threat. If you can't shoot the ball, you are actually a liability. So if I get the ball out here, we've seen this happen before. If I get the ball out here and I can't shoot the ball, where's my defense going to be, girls? Anybody know? Yeah. They're just going to be sagging off. All right, and then what am I going to do? If I drive, they're already got 3 feet on me. But if I can shoot it, then they have to be up on me, and now I can pass to my teammates, or I can drive by. So shooting is going to be something that's really important. I did want to talk about a few things. If you YouTube or Google shooting, you're going to find a million different things. And that's okay, because if you look at people's shot, they're all going to be different. It's about finding what's comfortable for you, although I think there are a few things that are non-negotiables for me. The first one is your elbow position. I think it needs to be in. You'll see some people kind of do the chicken wing. All right, but what a good tip to give your girls is your elbow should be right above your knee. All right, so here's one drill that I do. We call them rim flips, where you are really close to the basket, and you get in your shot, and you go down, and your elbow touches your knee, and then you go up for your shot. All right, they should not be, when they're shooting in real life, they should not be going down this far. But it gives them a nice picture of where their elbow needs to be in their shot and go straight up. Okay, so girls, I want you to practice this. Your right, anybody lefty? Okay, so your left foot should be right in the middle of the hoop. Everyone else, your right foot should be right in the middle of the hoop. And I want you to practice going down, touching your knee, and then going up and finishing a shot. The next teaching point that I think is really important is where you follow through. We've got a lot of girls right now who, especially girls or guys, if they play baseball, or girls who play softball, I see this a lot. They like to finish almost like they're throwing a ball, and so their follow through is like right here. So one of the other teaching points I try to use is your elbow should be above your eye. When you finish that follow through, your elbow should be at eye level or above. All right, so girls, I want you to do the same thing. Go down and touch your knee, but when you shoot it and you hold your follow through, hold it up for a second and make sure that your elbow is above your eye, because that's how high you should finish. Okay, so let's do the same thing here. Go for it. Good, hold that follow through up. Good. Hold that follow through, hold that follow through. We're trying to swish it, we're trying to swish it. Don't use that backboard right now, trying to swish the ball. Yep. Very nice shot. Okay, the last thing. When we're talking about shooting, I even made the same mistake just now. We always talk about the arms first. But really, your shot starts with your feet. All right? Your shot does come ground up. So what we talk about, we've kind of already talked about it here, where we start low with coming into our shot. Our feet should be about shoulder width apart. All right, but I do want to talk just a little bit about what feet should look like. There's a lot of different information out there. I was taught that your feet are pointing directly at the basket. But there's a lot of stuff out there right now that your feet should be turned a little bit. I don't think that really matters. All right? As long as you have a good solid base, your feet can be, as long as they're not pointing like this, your feet are going to be fine. What I do think is important is how you jump. So if I can have a ball really quick. If you watch like Kobe Bryant, some of those NBA guys, they get really high off the ground, but those guys are phenomenal athletes. If you watch Steph Curry, the guy barely jumps when he's shooting a three-pointer. And I think that your jump should be little and soft. So when you shoot, a lot of people will take these big jumps forward. Or they think they got to do like a Kobe Bryant where they jump and hesitate in the air and then shoot it. Your jump should be little and soft. So what we do is we do the 3-girl 2-ball shooting, but we talk about, again, coming in, making sure our feet are square, and then taking a nice soft little jump to the basket. My feet end exactly pointing the direction that they started, and I might end just a little bit forward. Okay, so do you remember the 3-girl 2-ball shooting drill? Okay, I want you to get back into that, and I'll be with this group again. All right, but now I really want you to focus. Make sure your elbows in on your shots. Hold up that follow through and take a nice little jump. So the 3 things we just talked about. Okay, ready, set, go. Hold that follow through. I got it. Oh, there you go. Go for it. Hold that follow through. Make sure the elbow's above your eye. All right, so for me, the big thing is shot preparation. Make sure that our hands are ready, we're low, and we've got good feet coming into our shot. Our elbow should be in, follow through the elbow should be above the eye, and little jump. Those are my big 4 things with shooting. So when you're teaching shooting, don't make it too complicated. Again, it's got to be something that's comfortable for girls and boys. There's so many different body types, so the shots are going to differ, but I think the elbow should always be in and some of those other things. Anybody have any questions on that? If you watch the NBA, Klay Thompson is the only one in the NBA who will catch the ball and immediately go into his shot. Most guys do have a little dip, and most girls do too. I'm okay with a little dip. So what I mean by that is if I'm catching the ball, you don't have to shoot like right from there. You can, it's like a rhythm thing. I'm gonna dip it a little bit, but like what you're saying, their shot should still come from right here. So they shouldn't be shooting like that. You can dip it, but then when I actually go into my shot, it still goes here and then up. Yeah, so that's a great question. It's one of the things that comes up all the time because when I grew up the same way. They say, you catch and shoot, don't bring the ball down, but if you watch great shooters, they dip the ball because it's a rhythm thing. But still keep it out, right, but it's not a shot put, right. All right, I want to talk a little bit about defense. So every girl come down here, put your balls on the baseline. One of the emphases of our defense is keeping the ball on one side of the floor. Brad Stevens, who coached Butler to the Final Four those few years, he now coaches the Celtics. He talks about when offenses get to reverse sides of the floor, that increases their points per possession. So we want to not allow that. We want to keep the ball on one side of the floor. What that looks like here is, let's see. Give me one girl out here on the wing. Doesn't matter who, one girl out here. Perfect. And then one girl right underneath the hoop of the ball. You need a basketball. So the big thing for this one is you have to close out to what I call the high side. We call it closing out high. High side with high hands. And if you come and watch any of our practices, I probably say this 4 million times every practice because we're still not very good at it. So actually, why don't you come up here, and I want you to have the ball up here, and I'll show it first. So if I'm closing out on the ball here over a little bit, a lot of times people will close out straight up like this, which is fine. But in my defensive philosophy, I think you need to keep the ball on one side of the floor. So when I say close out high, you're going to close out to this high side and make sure they're shaded to one side of the floor. All right, and a lot of people don't like this because I'm forcing her to her strong hand. But what happens is that your defense now gets to load because you're keeping the ball on one side of the floor. And the other thing is it makes your help a lot easier. If my teammate is guarding her, she knows that ball's coming towards me, and I'm ready to help. And this defender over here knows they are not dribbling my way, so I'm going to steal this pass. If anything's coming this way, it's going to be a pass. So I'm closing out high this way, all right, and keeping the ball on one side of the floor. So the way we call this drill double closeouts. It's a great drill for getting this habit, but it's also a nice one-on-one drill. All right, so why don't you go back down there. So how this works is you've got your coach is right here. You're going to roll the ball out to me, and then you're going to close out. Okay, so come close out. Come up here to play defense. Yep, and make sure that this foot, perfect, just like that. That's almost a little bit too much, but again, emphasize this. It's okay to overemphasize in practice because in a game they're going to revert a little bit. All right, so we're closing out to this high side. The coach is going to pause, make sure it's a good closeout. Now I'm going to pass over here, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to close out to this high side. you're gonna pause for half a second, and then you're gonna play one-on-one over here. All right, so go back down there, we'll go through the whole thing again. So roll it out to me. Okay, come close out. Hands high, high side. Okay, good. I'm gonna pass over here, go close out there. Hands high, high side, and then we'd play one-on-one. And then you just rotate through. We usually go make it, take it, but at the youth level, I'd say you just rotate through. Defense to offense, offense out, or something like that. All right? Let's run through it a couple of times. So why don't you go back down there. We'll go through all the way just so we can see what it looks like. All right, ready? Here we go. Roll it out, close out high, hands high, high side, good. Close out, hands high, high side, and look, play, go ahead. Okay, next up. So now you're on offense out there, the next person comes in on defense. Give them the ball, good. Okay, roll it out, close out, high side, good, close out, okay? Same thing, wait a second, good close out, and I'll play. Good, all right. So what you just saw there was the same thing we saw on the first day of practice. When we said close out high and keep them on one side, girls took that to mean like give them a layup here, which is absolutely not the case. So we call our defense, our primary defense, we call it push. So if you come to our games, you hear me yelling push, it's called push because we're trying to push them to the corner. Our whole goal is push them down to that baseline corner where they are in trouble. All right, so if you could go out on the wing with the ball. So I'm closing out here, but I'm not giving a layup. My goal is to push her there. So as she drives, I'm not just opening up, I'm trying to slide and push her all the way to this spot because now she's in trouble. All right, so that's one of the things that's gonna be really hard for your girls at first, especially when you're playing one-on-one, is they're gonna give up a lot of layups. But it's a great drill to practice pushing them to the baseline, and what you can tell them in practice is in a real game, you've got another defender right here, and as that girl drives baseline, she's gonna be double teamed. Okay, so at first it's gonna look really bad in one-on-one scenarios. But last night at Stoughton, we forced 17 turnovers, and 15 of them came from right there. So you push them down to that area, and they are in a really tough spot. You got the baseline as another defender, you've probably got another defender as a help defender, and they're not shooting that ball. And what we tell the girls is if they want to take a shot from right here over our tallest girl, fine. I will live with that. If they make that, we'll lose. That's fine with me because they are not going to make that shot consistently. All right, so that's part defensive philosophy, keep the ball on one side of the floor, and a good drill to help getting in that habit of closing out to keep it on one side and then playing from that wing spot. We're going to play a little 3-on-3. So I need 3 girls on offense and 3 girls on defense. If you're on offense, I want you right here, over at that red X, and over where that red X would be. So you can be on offense right here. Perfect. All right, and then defense, defense, defense. Okay. I think you need to play 3-on-3 in practice a lot. I made the mistake as a young coach playing a lot of 5-on-5, and it's good. I don't think it helps you as much as 3-on-3 does, especially defensively. When you play 3-on-3 defensively, you get exposed, which is a good thing, because you can expose where your weaknesses are so you can fix them. When you play 5-on-5, there's 2 more girls to help cover some of that up. But out here, you can really see who closes out well, who's in good help position. So it's great from a coaching perspective. It's also great from a player perspective because they can see what they need to work on. The other thing that I love about this is that you can change it up in so many different ways. So here's the one that I like the best. Again, we're trying to keep girls out of the middle. Stoughton last night is dribble drive, so they love to drive to the basket. So we did this one all week long. I would pass it to one of the girls on offense, and they had to drive. As soon as they catch, they have to start with a drive. We're playing live 3-on-3, but they can't start with a pass. They've got to drive. And what that does is if I passed it here, this girl had to close out right because she was starting with a drive, and we can't let her go middle. Also, if we're not letting her go middle, where's she going to go? Baseline. And that means that girl's got to be good in help position. So it's a great drill because they have to jump to those spots right away. All right, so we're going to run that really quick. I'm going to pass it to somebody, and if I pass it to you, you have to drive it right away. You don't have to shoot it, but you have to try to drive, and then if you pass it after that, we would just play 3-on-3. Everybody sound good? And defense, make sure you're closing out, try to keep them on one side of the floor. Try to push them to that baseline, okay? Defense all starts in the middle, in the lane. So you start in the lane, a little bit over there. Good. So you got to close out. Ready? Okay, here we go. Close out, keep her on one side. You ready to help down there? Good, now we're just playing 3-on-3. Nice pass. Good, nice steal. All right, step back up. I want you two jump in for 2 people. 2 people go out, you 2 come in. All right, you 2 are right over here. Okay, let's switch offense and defense. All right, so that's my first one I like the best. Pass, they have to drive right away. The second one I like is pass, and you've got to touch a line. Now, we don't have a 3-point line in here, but if you would imagine a 3-point line, we say if your girl gets the ball, you have to touch the 3-point line before you can play defense. Again, that's really good for your help rotation. So defense, start in the lane. If you're playing defense, start in the lane right here. So if I were to pass it over here, and I was playing defense, so she would have to go out, touch the 3-point line, and then get back in the drill. And again, you have to start with a drive. So you can see already you're a girl down or a man down, and you're going to have to work on your rotations. So if we walked through this, if you were out here and you touched the line and you started with a drive baseline here, you just stop right there. Who has to come help? And that's what they're going to do originally, but that's not right. You're up here. That's a great thing to teach this, because we want this girl to be in good help position. So she's going to help. So come over here and help. And your responsibility is to drop and cover this back side. All right, because in a real game, if somebody's driving here, there's probably a post right here. And you're trying to drop and cover that up so they can't just drop it off to the post. All right, so we start like that. As soon as she's back in, you've got to communicate about who you're going to take. All right, so it's another great drill it's a great drill for communicating about who you're going to guard. You know, she's got to yell, "I got ball," things like that. All right, but it's just another good wrinkle to add to this. Touch the line, because it really makes your girls work on those help rotations. Okay, the last one. Why don't we go back up here with the ball? I don't know if you see this very often in youth basketball, but I do want to talk about it because we see it a lot at the high school these days. Is ball screens. Do you guys see that? Yeah, sometimes. That really gives our girls a lot of problems, and I'm not sure why yet, but we're still working through on good ball screen defense. So the other thing that we'll do is I'll pass to one of the wings. So let's say I'll pass here, and the middle girl is going to go set a ball screen. All right, and we talk about how we want to defend it. You can decide this at your team. One of the things that we do at the varsity level is I think it's really hard to come off a ball screen and hit a 3 off the dribble. So I'm not fighting around that ball screen. It's just, I don't think it's necessary. So what we do is we'll drop under the ball screen and then just pick her up. So if you would come up and play defense here, and you're setting a screen, you play defense, right? So you're setting a screen on her. So you've got to be yelling, again, it's a communication thing. Screen, 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 screen. If you can get your girls to talk as much as possible, that'd be great. So she's yelling screen, and she's sitting right here for help. If you watch the Badgers, they do this really well. Ethan Happ will stand right here, and so when that person comes around the ball screen, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going in there. All right, so you're right here in good help. But you're not so close to the screener, because what we want is you're going to slide right through here, so when she comes, you're just right there. All right? Again, it's just another wrinkle to work on good 3-on-3, and what it does is it puts pressure on your defense and makes them rotate, makes them talk, which I think is going to be beneficial for your defense. The big thing from this is just play 3-on-3. All right, don't be too worried about playing 5-on-5. You obviously have to do that sometimes to run your offense, but even for our offense, we'll play 3-on-3 and still do our same movements, and it makes you work even a little bit harder. So I think 3-on-3 is great. One year when I coached JV at MG, I only had 7 girls, and so I only could play 3-on-3, and we won 19 games that year. And I think it really was because our defense was so good, because in practice, they got exposed every single day, and we worked on some of those things that we were weak at, so that when we did play 5-on-5, we were really tough to score at. Teams only averaged 25 points a game against us that year, which in high school basketball is really, really low. And I think it really was because of how much 3-on-3 we played. One of the things that we tell our girls is your hips always should be pointing at your player, because what they want to do is they want to go like this. And then they'll lose their player. So what we say is, my hips are pointing at her, but my head is on a swivel so I can see both. So it's one of the things that terminology has helped us a lot, talking about hips, because otherwise they get too turned. But having your hips pointed towards your girl so you can see both is something that has really helped us. And then if she were to drive middle, so drive towards me, all right, we talk about fully helping with our body. So in that case, then we've got to fully stop with our hips before we recover back out to our girl. In our offense, in the old dribble drive offense, it was about how they would catch and they were just supposed to immediately attack. But we wanted to get them in the habit of reading what the defense was giving them. So the old thing is catch and triple threat, but what we say is catch to shoot. Because I think, again, that gets that in their mind, like I'm ready to shoot, and then they're automatically in triple threat. So we talk about, we usually put like a chair right here, and we'll have a coach up where you are with the ball, and we have them come down, come off the screen, and I'm catching to shoot. So my hands are ready, and I'm catching ready to shoot. And then we have a coach playing defense, and we have them read them. So if the coach is sagging off, we have them shoot. If the coach is coming up and they've got their high foot up like this, we have them attack that high foot. So they'll catch ready to shoot, and if the coach has got the high foot up, they'll rip through, take one dribble, and shoot. So I like adding in the decision making with triple threat stuff. But at the youth level, I would just say practice them catching to shoot. All right, and then having them do some stuff off of that, whether they catch to shoot and then actually shoot, or catch to shoot and then you have them just work on layups or things like that. One of the things that people talk about is how you want to rip like this, but I think it's better to go hip to hip. So you've got 2 points of contact here, and then keep a third one with your body. And so if I'm trying to be strong, I'm going to be like this, and I'm going to go right to my hip, all right, and right to my hip. But the big thing is don't let them go over their head, because then they're really weak. And they can't shoot, they can't pass. If I'm here, I can still throw a pass, or I can still step into my shot. So we talk about when again, it's this decision-making thing, when they catch the shoot, if I'm ripping into my hip, and then I'm going down. But I don't have any, besides having them pass back and forth and having them try to steal it, I don't have any specific drills that work on that. If you ever want to come to a practice, you are more than welcome to come to any practice. We have a website, mggirlsbasketball.com, and it's got our practice schedule on there. So if you ever want to come, anybody is welcome to come watch, and you can see what we're doing and some of the drills and some of the things that we're talking about. Yeah. All right. Thanks for helping us out, girls. Appreciate it.